Hello everyone, I'm Swanifier, and for this video we'll be diving into the Hunter class in Legacy Steel and Sorcery, which for a game that's been released for 6 months, I've got a decent amount of hours in. Whether you're a brand new player or a seasoned veteran, I'll be going over exactly what you need to know to dominate on this class. The Hunter in Legacy is typically most effective at medium range. It's played as an elusive DPS with great area denial and a good mix of physical and elemental damage types. Depending on your loadout, it can be very strong in big open fields, or suffocatingly oppressive in cramped dungeons and castles. It has great PvE potential with piercing AoE abilities and a kit that enables quick escapes if jumped by another player. In team play, you can build to be a backline, long-range DPS with supportive abilities to help your team kite or engage, or you can specialize as a frontline DPS, soaking up the enemy's pressure with your high evasiveness and kiting. It all depends on the abilities and weapon you choose to play with. However, the Hunter is the most vulnerable class when stammed out, so make sure to manage your stamina well because one big mistake can lead to your death as a somewhat squishy class. Now let's go over the different abilities and gear you'll want to use. There are 3 different weapons that the Hunter can use: the swift bow, the medium bow, and the long bow. There are 3 different variations of each of these bows that you can craft, but there's usually one variation that stands out above the other 2 that most people use: the Crestwind swift bow, the Amberthorn medium bow, and the Emberbranch long bow. The swift bow specializes in close range, fast-paced combat. The medium bow is a bit of a hybrid. It can be viable up close, but also works well at medium range. The longbow is similar to a sniper. It works very well at long distances, but in order to confirm kills, you need to be comfortable using it up close and at medium range. The Hunter class has the most options to choose from currently when it comes to spell selection with 9 different spells. Synergizing your selected abilities with your gear is key to setting yourself up for victory when it comes to combat. If you look like this, I can guarantee you're playing Hunter completely wrong. When it comes to bombs, everyone pretty much uses the same one, the Flying Seed Bomb, but I personally think the other 2 options are strong as well. For traps, you're best off starting with the Bramble Trap as soon as you unlock it because it simply deals with the weaknesses the Hunter class has the best out of the 3 options. The third ability slot is the most defining one. Currently, if you're using longbow, then you should definitely be using Sentinel Cyclone as it helps you create distance between you and your opponent or helps you close the gap when they're low. With medium bow, you can use either Sentinel Strike or Sentinel Cyclone. Sentinel Cyclone enables you to play aggressive with the powerful disengage tool in your back pocket if you need it, but Sentinel Strike helps you lock opponents down and is very good at confirming kills, which medium bow struggles with. Swift bow utilizes Sentinel Strike incredibly because it builds swiftness very fast and thrives in close quarter combat, where Sentinel Strike is much harder to dodge. The armor sets you choose should be based on the weapon and third ability slot you're using. Windstrider's helmet is very strong with Sentinel Strike because it allows you to hold over 4 bars of swiftness longer, which is the amount you need to cast an instant Sentinel Strike. Eagle Feather helmet can be useful with a longbow cyclone setup where you're playing very defensively around 3 traps. All builds should be using the Bramble Trap, so Windstrider's Leaf Plate is the go-to no matter what weapon you're running, as it gets procced from someone standing in your Bramble Trap. For the chest plate, if you're using Sentinel Strike, then you want the Elven Tunic. If you're using Cyclone, then you want the Eagle Feather chest. And similar to the shoulders, all builds and weapons should be using the Elven Autumn Hide pants. Now let's get into the combat. As a general rule of thumb, you don't want to be sitting on max mana. Your traps and Flying Seed Bomb are scaling abilities. The longer you have to yourself, the more traps and bombs you can set up in your area while still having enough mana to cast your Sentinel ability. Even if you're in the middle of combat sitting on max mana and you don't have enough swiftness yet to cast Sentinel Strike, chuck a trap down and play around it, or throw a bomb on the floor of a choke point. The same idea applies to your stamina. You don't want to be sitting on max stamina because stamina equals swiftness when using the Elven Autumn Hide pants, and swiftness gives you faster draw speed, longer Sentinel abilities, and more stamina regeneration. However, if you're playing a more vulnerable weapon like the longbow, you need to be careful while building swiftness with evades and not get caught out on low stamina. An incredibly strong tool Hunter has is a jump evade called Air Vault, which is a trait you unlock. It costs 5 less stamina than your normal evade, and if used correctly, will send you farther away from your opponent as well as knocking them back. This should be used to gain distance and interrupt opponents' attacks, but be careful not to get hit while jumping before you can get the evade off, because some attacks in the game will knock you down from the air where you can get one shot during the knockdown duration. A good tip for using your special arrows, depending on how much you want to farm them, is equip them right after using Sentinel Strike or Cyclone for a fluid explosive arrow or frost arrow shot. These tools are very powerful for zoning and pressuring pips, so use them as often as possible. Since Hunter struggles with enemies using line of sight, sometimes it's best to save your Sentinel Strike for when they run behind a wall to heal up, making it harder for them to react to and applying that big slow from your Elven Tunic. Another great tool to stop their heals behind walls is your bomb, but be wary not to overuse these or else you'll be mana starved without getting much value out of them. Now, let's dive into each weapon. Blocking and tool usage are key for the swift bow. You can hold block immediately after firing a charged shot, and when combined with the weapon's already top tier evasiveness, it will make you almost unkillable. In order to be less predictable with special arrows, you can equip them and then evade attack. Also, the 3-tap combo has a lot of end lag, so you can evade attack or sentinel strike right after to bypass it. Swift bow LMBs don't have staggers, so you can't knock people out of the air like the other bows, but you can take advantage of its weapon ability, fire arrow explosions, sentinel strike, and bomb explosions to knock people down. This will allow you to get a 3-hit combo on them before they get up. The medium bow is very good at air tripping people and applying the snare shot trait, so make sure to be aiming at their legs every time the snare runs out. You can equip a special arrow and then Elven Dance to shoot it, but this is really easy to dodge once the enemy is expecting it. Elven Dance is an incredible tool to get out of combos while rooted though. You can dodge a Blade Rush, a Wizard Cyclone combo, and even a cheap shot. Positioning, movement, and patience are the keys to successful longbow gameplay. You need to be very aware of what is a threat around you, having a plan of where to go if you get jumped, and having the mechanical skill to maneuver there better than your pursuer. The headshot multiplier is higher on the longbow than the other two bows, so you're greatly rewarded if you take your time and aim for the head. In solos, this requires even more patience, but in teams, waiting for a setup with your teammate and then applying the burst damage is very strong. In general, Hunter struggles with soft CCs like roots or slows because you typically don't have block, requiring you to use an evade or just take the hit if you're rooted. This makes the rogue matchup very hard as they have access to lots of roots and a strong slow, and can hit you with darts from range that other classes can block with ease. Swiftbow will be your best bet if you're struggling into these matchups, or just playing very safe and smart on medium and longbow, forcing them to push into you where you have traps and bombs set up. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned a thing or 20. If you have any questions, you can catch me live at twitch.tv/Swanifier, or check out my videos at youtube.com/@Swanifier. I wish you luck in your adventures. Peace.